Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks to UXDX for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all today. So, as Joe said, I'm Sonali. I'm the head of digital at Chase. I came to the firm about 3 years ago and have built my career really primarily just working in the financial services industry, building products for consumers and small businesses. Today at Chase, my team builds the features and the experiences you see when you open the Chase mobile app or when you go to chase.com. And our job, as we see it, is really to power the digital platform that gets customers to their full financial potential and helps their dreams come true. So that's sort of our why. But we are the front door to all of the interactions, or the daily interactions at least, that most customers have with the bank. And over the recent, past 5 years or so, we've seen incredible adoption as it relates to digital banking. Industry research kind of tells us that people are using their banking apps weekly. And for us at Chase, we've actually, since 2019, seen 10% year-over-year growth in the digital active users that we have. And so we spend our time making sure that those experiences are always on, that they're performant, and that our customers are safe, they're engaged, and they're satisfied. And so today, I'm going to walk you through how we actually ship product at a place as large as Chase. So we have over 300,000 employees. But how do we do that but still keep the customer at the center of everything we do? So I think I'm going to start first, though, by just, I mentioned the over 300,000 employees, but just the enormity of the scale we have at Chase. So we serve over 80 million customers, more than 6 million small businesses. We have 4,800 branches. They're in every single state. And that's 900,000 customers that are walking into our branches daily. And on the digital side, we have 68 million customers that are engaging with our mobile and our web experiences. And that really translates into, 12 million unique app users every 12 hours. It means 15 billion login sessions per year. It means 26 million customers coming in each year to use Zelle just to get paid or pay somebody else. And so that kind of impact is really staggering. And it also creates a tremendous responsibility for us to make sure that we have our customers' backs, we are working on their finances, which are critical to them, and so we really take that very seriously. And people are also using our channels for important life moments. They're looking to buy a new home, they're looking to plan for retirement, and they're using our savings and our budgeting tools to sort of improve their financial health. And so when we think about that, what we're seeing is we care about what we call engaged sessions. So people not just coming to the app, checking their balance and leaving, but actually engaging in some other service. And since 2019, we've seen that increase by 25%. So also delivering on that, I guess I have to point out, requires tremendous investment. And so we actually, in 2023 alone, did it get there? We spent over $3 billion on our product and technology agenda. And so a significant portion of that is really focused on infrastructure, making sure we're on the most modern tech stacks, being really flexible with our platforms. And that increases the resiliency and stability of our experiences. But what I will say is, and it's exciting, is that more than half of that goes into delivering new products and features that serve our customers. And that's a really exciting place to be. We're helping them redeem rewards points, book travel, start their own small business. And so that's a really, really dynamic place to be playing. That investment also powers a huge organization. So we have 25,000 people across our product experience technology focus, and we have that across disciplines. We have it across product, design, technology, and data and analytics. We call that, in Chase, our quad. when we think about our quad, it's really important that each of these disciplines come together and are starting together to solve the crux of the problem. We're not really working in silos and working sequentially. We're really coming together and saying, what is the crux of the problem? How do we solve it? What should we build, and how should we build it? And it's important to do it together because we all bring a different perspective. So the first one is, our engineers. They are thinking platform. They're telling us how to build something. Excuse me. We have our designers. They're really responsible for the end-to-end customer experience. How is that experience going to make the customer feel? We have our data and analytics team, and it's really important that they're there to instrument the products that we build so we can actually learn from the customer interactions. We have 17 petabytes of data. I never knew what a petabyte was, but it's a lot of data. And so we're using that to come up with insights and actually improve our products. And then you have product, which is me, and my team. And I kind of think of us as like, we're the band leader, and we're trying to get the whole group together to play the same song. And so all of us are really in it together, and culturally, that tight relationship is really, really important. And so as a quad, we kind of work together to keep the customer at the center. We are listening to customers. We do call listening, we look at customer research, we do focus groups, and we have to be deeply curious about their problems and really fall in love with those problems, not with some solution that we think is going to be perfect. And then we fine-tune, so we iterate. We have the humility to know that what we put out there isn't going to be perfect, and we allow for that. So critical to doing that, really, is this culture of experimentation. So we're building a culture where we measure, we fail fast, and we keep testing, and we're rinsing and repeating on that. Gone are the days where you would say, okay, a year from now, there's going to be a big launch, and here's the product, and we know exactly what that is. We really have to change that kind of a mindset. And so that is infused within the teams, and it's not just, about product features. I even think our engineers operate this way. So we have something we call True CD at Chase. I think in the industry, it's like continuous delivery, continuous integration. I don't think I have that fully right, but it's a way to really automate your testing practices across your applications. But I think it's really analogous to experimentation, because what we're doing is we're taking one technology team, and they are writing the unit tests for their code to make sure it's going to deploy correctly. But they're also doing contract testing with the other tech team. And they're making sure that when their code connects, it's going to actually deploy the right way. And so that kind of like breaking it down and making sure that everything works end to end helps to de-risk what you deploy in the end. Actually, let me go back for a second. I covered this, actually. So we'll talk a little bit now about experimentation and expectations. So we know when experiments are put out, they're supposed to fail some of the times. So a third of your experiments should win in a sort of industry best practice. A third are going to be flat, and a third will fail. And you should expect a counterintuitive outcome. So maybe I can give you an example of this at Chase. Like I said, we have like 50 million plus customers that are coming into the app every day. It's a great channel, actually, our mobile app, for customers to come in and see the full breadth of what Chase can offer. We have tons of products that are relevant to our customers. But in 2022, we saw our mobile app account production start to dip. And so we took a look at this open an account button that you see here, which is a huge driver of that traffic. And so we were like, why is this happening? We went to the data. We started asking customers, like, how would you go about exploring, getting a mortgage or planning for retirement? And what we found is this open an account button was confusing. Customers kind of thought of it as like, oh, it's where you get a credit card, or it's where you open a new checking account. It didn't occur to them there was so much more to explore. And so we come up with a bunch of variants. We had open a new account, shop products, explore more with Chase, tried a bunch of stuff. And here's some of the stuff that was interesting. Open a new account, that actually performed flat. But when we kind of dug underneath it, we found that new customers to Chase, that performance was down. Because they were like, I just opened a new account. Why would I open another one? Or I don't even know what else Chase has to offer. It doesn't occur to me. Similarly, when we use the word products, and any of the language that was there with products, the performance was down. People are like, what's a product? I don't know what a product is. That's like us talking to ourselves. And so in the end, what we did is we kind of took the greatest hits of everything we learned, and we put up this kind of tile that really showed the different products. We call it our product lineup. And it probably isn't earth-shattering, but that has led to a 13% increase in our account production. And I just told you about our scale. That's like massive. And by the way, this isn't even how it looks anymore. It's not how it looks anymore. We continue to iterate, but those are some of those things where these small kind of incremental game-of-inch kind of changes can drive huge ROI and huge results. So I'll walk you through another example. This one is a new feature that we were able to bring to market, and it was based off of one of our great digital tools called Credit Journey. So we launched Credit Journey several years ago. It's a credit monitoring tool. It also has identity monitoring as part of it, and you don't even have to be a Chase customer to use it. What was interesting, though, is as we would talk to customers, we found they were like, cool, that's my credit score, but how do I improve it? Like, what can you actually do to help me? And so we actually looked across the marketplace, and we found that all the credit score tools were doing this very generic thing. They had either two models. They had a model that's like people like you, so it looks at people who have the same score as you, and it gives generic advice about like behaviors you can do to try to raise it. There's another model that's people like them. And so that'll say, hey, here are people with 750 credit scores. You should do what they do. But in all cases, it wasn't really specific, and it wasn't really helping the customer. And so I love this quote that's here. I'm actually going to read it. But I feel like how to increase your score and by how much is a true mystery. So like anybody can Google how to improve, but how do I know this is going to impact me? And so we had a clear why, and the teams got to work. So with a focus on design and functionality, Score Planner was born. And so here's how it works. Our customer starts by seeing where their credit score is, and they kind of see it on that spectrum of fair to excellent. We then give them a prompt and ask them, here's how much you could move the needle by, here's how much we think you could move your score. The customer then tells us why they want to improve their score, like maybe they want to buy a house, and we tell them how long it's going to take and by how much they can improve it. We did this and launched this, testing it with our customers all along the way. The team gathered like a whole bunch of usability concerns. People were like, are those action steps clear? There were some challenges with the navigation. All of those things we were able to fix by really listening to customers and putting this out in market. And so Score Planner has been out for about a year. We have 3.5 million plans that have been created. More than 1 million customers have actually completed their score plan, and some of them sign up for more, just racking up the credit score points. And on average, when customers complete their score, they improve it by an average of over 30 points. So it's a really compelling and rewarding thing to be a part of. You're actually improving the financial health of your customers. And we're still iterating on it. There's always tweaks. We keep going back to it to try to make it better. And so this is a little bit of a Jamie Dimon plug, but what I will tell you, when you want to do this experimentation, you really need that culture shift to start from the top. So this is our chairman and CEO, and he kind of reminds us, like, it's about the data. It's about the facts. You got to do the analysis, rinse and repeat. And what I love about what he says is you have to appreciate that failure is a normal outcome and something you're going to learn from. So before I end, I'm going to foot stomp a couple things that I talked about today. So one, make sure you know your why. Like, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? And keep reminding yourself what that is. Two, measure and celebrate the outcomes, not the output. Don't fall in love with your solution and just get it to market. You really want to make sure it's moving the needle. Three, you need to constantly experiment. Your ROI will improve, your customers will be happier. And finally, know that you're never done. So product development is a living and breathing thing, and you just need to keep iterating on that and bring the best to your customers. Whew. So with that, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. There we go.
So that was fantastic, as promised.
Yeah.
You know, I in particular really found the quad to be interesting, and I think everyone in the audience took away quite a bit when it comes to the measurement of those outcomes and the focus thereof. I'm just kind of curious, it feels like the quad as a concept is going to be familiar to many of us, you know, because we typically share the framing of the three-legged stool. How does the quad help to accelerate outcomes in an environment like a bank, which is, no offense to anybody, not really known for moving that fast?
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, when I came to Chase, it was something I was really surprised. Like, how do you actually ship so much out and get so much output? I think at a place as large as this, being really disciplined about your OKRs and what are those metrics you're trying to move is what allows people to kind of row the boat in the same direction. And so we actually visit our OKRs on a very, very regular basis. We do it as a quad. We actually, and you can imagine, it's not like we have one quad of 25,000 people. We have a bunch, but we make sure we're lining up each product area against those OKRs, so we know that we're moving the needle. So listen, it's not a 15-person startup, so we do have a bunch of coordination, but I think it's holding yourself to those metrics you need to move that help everybody kind of do it together.
Absolutely. So for those of us that have worked in the large-scale financial and legal space, there are different tactics to employ when driving outcomes that are somewhat constrained by compliance and regulatory bodies. Can you maybe give us a little advisement as to how you've dealt with that in the past?
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's not like I threw you a softball there.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think there's sort of two parts to it. One, we're dealing with people's finances, so it's just not an option to not have a strong approach from a risk management perspective, to make sure you're keeping customers safe, to make sure they're not getting scammed, and to hold that responsibility there. So I think emotionally with the team, we talk about that quite a bit so that people actually feel like those rules are there for the right reasons. Similarly to how I said, get the quad together at the beginning, I do bring my control partners. I do bring my compliance and my legal folks on anything that started, even the score planner stuff, because you're looking at their bureau information to make sure we're thinking about those implications up front. But then the other thing I will tell you is we look at experiences that are not just in the financial services industry because we should be pushing ourselves, right? We should be looking at those experiences and saying yeah, but they got to do that. What made that fintech able to do it? And is there a way to do that in a way that's safe for the customer? So it's a thing, but.
I mean, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you kind of extend the quad and kind of bring them in?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Gotcha.
And I would say, your lawyer probably wants to be in it. We're doing the fun stuff. They want to be there, and they want to help, and when you bring them in as part of the problem solving, I think you get a better outcome.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun than doing discovery.
Right.
For instance, right?
Yeah.
I want to kind of double click a little bit on the notion of team structure. So you talked quite a bit about like acceleration and shipping. Is there anything that you found to be unique about team structure that can drive some of these smaller footprint experiments and iterations to market?
I mean, the way we structure it is nothing is autonomous, but we've actually carved out, I think we have like 90 different products and product areas, each with a head of product, a head of tech, a head of design, and a head of data and analytics. So they are somewhat, that quad, and people who are in those, they don't think of themselves as like, I'm on the design team. They actually, their allegiance is to the product that they're on. And so I think those smaller kind of groups that can work autonomously somewhat, can run their own experiments, that actually helps to get the outcomes.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like it's the same quad model, but maybe shaped a little bit differently depending on what the business need is?
Yeah, and honestly, that like your allegiance is your area, not your sort of functional discipline. And I think that helps because it really brings that collaboration across all of the kind of expertise that each of those members have.
Love that. I think we might have, no, it seems like we're about at time because I'd hate to like throw another hardball at you and say like you have 45 seconds.
Yes.
So Sonali, thank you so much. It's really been fantastic to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you, and thanks everybody.